Today on Locked On Rockies, who's been the bigger surprise, Yonathan Daza or Chad Khul?
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 30th day of May, aka Memorial Day here in the United States, remembering those who have served. All of that today on your Memorial Day Monday. We are proud to be your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Rockies podcast and on the Locked On Podcast Network. Today's episode of Locked On Rockies is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey, if you want to help the show grow, drop that sub on that YouTube channel. It's a massive help. And make sure you're following us and listening wherever you go on your favorite streaming service. Today on Locked On Rockies, of course, recapping another tough road trip for the Rockies. But we're going to brighten it up a little bit. We are going to focus on two players who have made incredibly positive impacts for the Colorado Rockies. But we're going to keep it pretty short and sweet today. A little holiday pod for you all here, as hopefully you don't get stuck in too much traffic if you are heading back from where you went this weekend. But Rockies fall to the Nationals in a 3-game series. They have now, I believe, won 5 games in the month of May. The Rockies were outscored by the Nationals by a score of 22 to, let me make sure my math is right. That's for 22 to 17. So the Rockies did score some runs, did have opportunities to, honestly, yesterday they had opportunities to get back in it, but the state of the Rockies is this, and no matter how many you want to spin it, and we can look at the flaws, the Rockies aren't beating bad teams. The Rockies aren't beating teams that they should beat. The Rockies' tailspin has them in a place where their play and the way they've responded to some of these road trips and some of these matchups is to be last in the NL West, is to be significantly under 500 at this point. There's a ton of baseball. I mean, but Rockies fans know this all too well. I mean, now all the people who were talking about wanting to rain on the parade in April are being proven right. The Rockies again on the outside looking in what seems like a huge gap between them on just about June 1st. We've played the record before. We've put that on. Heck, that record's got a bunch of scratches. It's warped. It's the story of the Colorado Rockies sometimes. Now, there's a lot of baseball left. Rockies haven't had their full depth this season, but the issues are glaring, and the issues are there. Again, this bullpen. Again, the starting pitching staff isn't that deep. The offense can't come up in big situations. There's a lot of things still to be worried about, but the hope is that it gets better. The hope is that when this team is healthy, that they can get back into how they were playing in April, but the hole continues to be dug. But two players have done a good job of preventing that hole. And you saw them on display this weekend yet again. And I put this question out on Twitter, and I want to see if you what everyone is saying about this poll that I put up here. And there's still an hour left if you want to go check it out. I was watching the game, and I asked, who's the bigger surprise this season, Yonathan Daza or Chad Khul? For me, the question's really tough, honestly. Yonathan Daza was sitting at a position where most people didn't know what he was going to do on the team, his offense, and he showed the flash of brilliance. But he still does. There's still the worries of the past. And Adrian, you make a good point. Can't strike out with the guy on third. But Yonathan Daza, far from the person most responsible for letting the team down in RBI generating situations. he's done it all year, and certainly you need your other team to step up. But CJ Cron had multiple opportunities across that series to add on to that first home run that he hit and to drive things in. Daza got a better job of at least getting on base, putting the ball in play, and contributing to the offense there than some of the Rockies' big main heavy hitters there. Actually, sorry, it was a 4-game set. I said earlier that the Rockies lost the 3-game set. It was a 4-game set. So my number totals from earlier also wrong. So 29 runs for the Nationals and to 22, I think, for the Rockies. But Yonathan Daza has a multi-hit game in the first game of the series. Yonathan Daza has a multi-hit game in the second game of the series. Yonathan Daza makes some good plays on defense. Yonathan Daza in the third game gets a hit, and then I believe he got a hit in yesterday's game as well. Yonathan Daza, a hit in every single ball game for there, but 5 hits, and there were multiple opportunities that you do want him to generate and drive in runs, but that's not necessarily what you're looking for with Yonathan Daza. It's been a benefit and a bonus of him. So his offensive production and his versatility has proven that until he cools off, there is no reason that Yonathan Daza shouldn't be the number 1 center fielder for the Rockies here, at least right now. Still would like. The strikeouts are tough. The strikeout was tough. But again, CJ Cron 0 for 5 yesterday in that game. We got that's honestly that's a huge deal. That's what the Rockies feel a bad day from CJ Cron a lot more with Chris Bryant out of the lineup. It's something that the Rockies haven't been able to really work around. The Chris Bryant was able to, not putting the ball out of the yard, but was putting the ball in play enough to make it that he was driving in runs. And I mean, imagine if you can, instead of going right into Cron there, you do drop in Chris Bryant, and then you go Chris Bryant, CJ Cron in those situations. I mean, you're losing Sam Hilliard in the lineup for the Rockies, but Hilliard with a couple of hits yesterday, and again, jury's still pretty far out on Hilliard, especially because it's Daza's deserves to be in the lineup there. But Hilliard did have a good series there, picking up a couple of hits as well. But on the flip side, for our question here on our topic of the day, is Chad Khul the bigger surprise? And let's dive into his stats in just a moment. But first, got to tell you about Athletic Greens. Our next partner has a product I use literally every day. You've seen me drink it on the show before. It's a great way to boost your body and start your day with 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging, all the things. It's really a great way to start the day. It does make me feel energized in the morning. And also, it's not filling me up like a breakfast would, but it does feel good putting something into my body like that to start the day. And it does make me feel like I get more out of my meal and a little bit of that boost to energy. I'm not a coffee drinker. I don't drink coffee in the morning like a lot of people do. My caffeine comes, unfortunately, from sugary drinks like soda. But it does give me a nice little boost of energy. And if you want to check it out, you can go and see all the great stuff at athleticgreens.com/MLB network. But I'll tell you about that in a second. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free. It costs less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/MLB network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/MLB network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. In the live chat here, Adrian says, statistically, I think cool. Daza has always showed consistency. He was just never clutch. I said this last season and the beginning of this season that he has never gotten those games with on the line hits. Yeah, and that's definitely true, but it's at least good that he's putting himself in position for other people to do that. The Rockies have struggled with that in general, but you are right. If I was to answer this question honestly, the bigger surprise for me for the Rockies is Chad Khul. The Rockies went out and just kind of got this pitcher that when you looked at his line, when you looked at the history, when you looked at everything, nothing really screamed like this was the good fill-in for John Gray. Like this was the thing that made sense. Why you in this direction versus John Gray and trying to bring him back. Instead, he's gone out and gone 4-2, 3.56 ERAs over 48 innings pitched, 38 strikeouts with a whip of 1.27. In his last start, which was over the weekend, he again he was the one win for the Rockies, 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. You'll take that all day. All day. I mean, the bad start for Khul has been the one against San Francisco in 3. But then he doesn't go very deep necessarily, and the walks hurt him, but he only has 1 earned run given up in his struggle start against Pittsburgh. But here's the deal. Chad Khul is the back of your rotation. He's not supposed to be your ace. And for the Rockies, he has been. You're right, Adrian, in the chat. He's been the ace for this team this year. He's kept the Rockies in games. The Rockies haven't necessarily backed him up every time, but he does have a good positive win-loss record. When Chad Khul has been on the bump for the Rockies have been in a much better position to win ball games. And it's honestly pretty shocking. The question is, who has been the bigger surprise? And I really think it's been Chad Khul. We've been talking Yonathan Daza for a bit. Yonathan Daza has been someone at least for Rockies fans talked about. But for Chad Khul to come in here and to have some dominant starts, to really demonstrate his abilities and really kind of embrace being here. He's talked very highly about being here. He's talked highly of the Rockies giving him the chance, and he's gone out there and performed for the Colorado Rockies. Last year, Chad Khul with Pittsburgh, he's almost matched his win total from last year. And pitcher wins obviously don't mean anything, but 5-7 last year, 4.82 ERAs in 28 games, with 14 games started. And then he comes in and then goes in the bullpen. He's already over half the innings pitched that he pitched in the years. He's approaching the most innings that he's pitched, and he will probably approach the most innings he's pitched since 2017, the last time he was actually looked to be a traditional starter, at least one that went very deep in games. The whip is down. The strikeouts seem to be on a higher pace. The only thing that Khul has maybe struggled with a little bit is walks. 18 walks here in 48 innings pitched. But again, if you have someone stepping up and anchoring the back of your rotation like Khul has this year, that's when you need your other parts of the rotation to step up. And unfortunately, the Rockies have not had that. With the disappointing seasons from Ramon Marquez and Antonio Senzatella, it's been really tough. I'm going to sit here and say I'm not disappointed in Kyle Freeland this year. And we're going to talk more Kyle Freeland because I have seen some positive news about Kyle Freeland. We'll wind down the show. That'll be we'll check in on the Kyle Freeland news because that was one of the big things we didn't talk about yet. But hopefully, since we're not talking about it, that's good news. But Kyle Freeland's been more unlucky. I truly believe that Kyle Freeland has had a pretty solid year and had multiple solid starts, but has just gotten unlucky. And yesterday included. The Rockies again in a position to win, but when you throw the ball all over the yard, you're not going to help out your pitcher. He gets the 5 earned runs, but I do think part of that was Freeland got left in a little too long yesterday. The pitch count got a little high. Anyway, when we're asking ourselves the question, who has been the bigger surprise for the Colorado Rockies? I don't think it's much of a debate to say Khul. I really think. But let's take a look at some responses on Twitter here. Evan Lang, Evan Lang. He writes, they write over there on the old Purple Row. He says, I got to go Daza. I'll wear it that I came into the postseason saying I was unsure where he fits on this team. He then proceeded to prove me wrong and be one of our best hitters. France Rockies, our friends over there in France, I choose Khul. We've already seen what Daza can do before his injury in the end of last season. Chad is a very good surprise. And Evan says, can't disagree with that either. Chad Khul being our best starter so far this season came out of nowhere. Great start this series as well. Yeah, that's I think a great summary of it. It's really, we had no idea what Chad was going to bring. He was filling a space that you needed, I don't know necessarily how much people, there was a lot of love for John Gray from Rockies fans. A lot of people enjoyed John Gray and saw what he contributed to the rotation. For Chad Khul to come in here and perform as well as he has, that's I gotta say, I got to agree there with France Rockies. But Mike Morrison says has to be Daza. I wasn't sure he'd make the team at the beginning of the year. Yeah, there, not alone over there, Mike. There was a lot of people wondering that. There was a lot of people wondering what his role was going to be on this team, and you do have to compliment Yonathan Daza. His back has been up against the wall in terms of needing to perform and needing to step up. We haven't gotten that clutch hit yet, those as many of those clutch hits as we want. Adrian, we've gotten some of them, but he has bounced back in these situations where he's needed to step up, and he's provided a really nice consistency in the lineup. It's the big X factor is a consistent Chris Bryant that the Rockies haven't had. That's the big thing. There's a player like Chris Bryant can enhance and move some of the pieces around in this Rockies lineup that really could put Yonathan Daza in better situations to contribute in terms of generating runs instead of just getting on base for people to knock him in. But I just think we can't disregard the fact that Daza saw the writing on the wall, been through the grind, and is now stepped up and not only stepped up to meet expectations, but to exceed expectations. But Adrian says, Khul arguably is better than Gray would have been with the injuries and stuff. You can make that argument, I think. Let's talk injuries. Let's talk about new arms in the bullpen, like Adrian says. But first, now this. All right. Big news. The good news for the Rockies fans. Big news is Kyle Freeland says he's good to go. No pain in his foot. Short-lived situation that seems to be resolved. No threat to miss a start. That's tweeted out from Roxpile. But they were saying that as well last night. But we can just double check. I will get you another source there. But yeah, he was talking about how it was weird. I think it's maybe just one of those things. Again, he was at over 100 pitches. It was a really, really scary moment there. But here's the good news. 9 News Sports Denver, our friends over there, 9 News Sports, Bud Blacks says the x-rays did come back negative yesterday. He thinks he's going to be fine. Apparently we dodged a bullet. That seems to be true today. So again, big news for the Rockies there in avoiding massive injury from Kyle Freeland, because the Rockies starting pitching depth can't take that anymore. Adrian says, I like seeing new arms in the pen. Chad Smith with the big debut this weekend. And I think I think that's a good sign for the Rockies. It's they are willing to dip in, see what they got. Why not see what else you can do? You got to experiment with this bullpen. You got to see what's going to work. You got to see what you have. But good for the kid. We're hopefully that he can come in and do it again. Man, he had some nice velocity on some stuff. But anyway, the one big thing, Kyle Freeland's velocity was down for his stuff yesterday. It wasn't really his best start yesterday as well, but again, was not could have gotten a lot worse. Got out of a couple of big jams too, but it's just such a bummer. The Rockies had so many moments where they started it on ahead in those games, on top in those games, and yet it all just came down the drain. But yeah, I'm happy to see new arms in the pen too. Maybe that consistency is going to help the Rockies get a little bit more, maybe get a little bit more performance out of them. But why not shake up the bullpen? Why not? Let's go get Dallas Keuchel, huh? Why not? after he get DFA'd. I wouldn't, I guess I wouldn't be too crazy, but that's just kind of spouting out nonsense at this point. Folks, we're going to wrap things up here for today. Go enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day weekend. Thank you to all those that have served. And, of course, make sure that you subscribe on YouTube so you can be in the live chat, just like Eric and Adrian was. Eric, I saw you in there as well, but we're going to, but anyway, you can follow the show as well at LO Rockies. You can follow me at Paul Holden 33 on Twitter. Make sure that you're following all of your favorite Colorado sports. Remember, the Colorado Avalanche still moving on, so don't miss a thing with the Locked On Avalanche podcast, as well as the Locked On Broncos and the Locked On Nuggets podcast. You can stay up to date with all things baseball and the world of sports with the Locked On MLB podcast and the Locked On Now podcast as well. So many great podcasts for you. But hey, folks, I'm Paul Holden. You got to check us out. We have a lot of fun here on the Locked On Rockies podcast. Join us as we keep talking Rockies all season long. And until next time,